Hi guys, it's Ray here from Man City Fan Chat. Well, great news guys, Angelino is back. He's in the house, back at the Etihad and back at Man City after 1 year away from the club ownership, but pretty much the kid's been away for many years on loan. So in this video I'm going to tell you a little bit about him and what hopefully we've got to look forward to now that he's back. So very exciting signing. Angelino came to City in 2014. Now his name is quite a long name, and you'll understand why everybody calls him Angelino. It's Jose Angel Esmores Tesend. Said before, I'm not sure if that's right. No one's ever corrected me, but Angelino for short. Between you and me and his mates, it's Angelino. So, as I said, we bought him back in 2014. He came to the Etihad and he played a back end of a game against Aston Villa. I think we were 4-0 up at the time. And then he's pretty much been out on loan. And he looks an exciting talent at the EDS. And we hoped at the time that he'd go out on loan to develop, because I think at the time we had Gail Clichy, Alexander Kolarov. He's not going to brush past them. And so he needed more game time. He was too good for the EDS, but not good enough yet for the first team. And so he needed to make a transition. So go away out on loan, and hopefully we hoped he'd come back into the fold. So he went out to New York City FC, our sister club, to start with. And I think he did reasonably well there, quite well actually. And looked exciting again, up and down that left wing. Sorry, he's the left back, but he's up and down that left-hand side. And so we thought maybe he'll come back and be a third choice left back and maybe fight his way through the ranks. But that never happened. He went out on loan again to Girona, and then on loan to Mallorca, and then he went on loan to NSA Breda. Not our sister club, but a club we have big links with, and we send them 3, 4, 5 kids every season out on loan. So he had this loan at NEC Breda, and he had a good loan. It was a good loan spell. I think he was part of the Eredivisie team of the season. That's the term, in Holland they play the Eredivisie. That's their league, top league. So we thought, especially last season, because we'd played, we'd got 100 points, but we had Fabian Delph at left back and Zinchenko at left back after Ben Mendy was injured, and there was a thought that Angelino could come back and be cover, maybe even play left back instead of if Mendy was injured again, as it transpired he was for most of last season, and he could cover for and play instead of Delph or Zinchenko. But that never happened. City sold him for €5.5 million to PSV Eindhoven, and he's had another pretty decent season with them. And culminating again, he's been in the Eredivisie team of the season. I said so last year. I thought €5.5 million for Angelino was a pittance, really. It was way short of what his true value I thought was. I thought it was worth at least double. He should have been 8, 10, 12 million euros in that sort of range. And even then I thought he was a bit cheap. I mean, the guy's been the top, left back in Holland for 2 seasons back to back. He's only 22 years old. He's got a lot of a career ahead of him. He's got 10 or 12 years ahead of him. He counts as homegrown, in England. He counts as homegrown in England because due to the fact that he spent 3 years at City before his 21st birthday, so he counts as homegrown. So that's actually a very big bonus point for him. So I mean, all of this loaning out and eventually selling him was part of City's business model, and you must be well aware of it. I've banged on about it for over 12 months. We buy lots of kids in cheap. We train them for a year or two. We send them out on loan, and then if they're not going to make it at City, we cash in on them. And there's a few kids who we've done that to recently. There's Brahim Diaz. I think we got up to 15 million quid from Real Madrid for him. Angus Gunn, I think we sent him out on loan to Norwich, and then we sold him to Southampton for between 12 and 15 million quid. There's been Enis Unal. I think we got him for about €2 million and sold him for, I think it was €12 million. There was Pablo Maffio, there was Angelino, there was Iheanacho. It doesn't fall in exactly the same category because we got him right, when he was couldn't really be called an academy player, but we sold him on for 25 million quid to Leicester. So there's loads of them. I mean, Sancho, it doesn't fall in exactly the same model because he was desperate to get out and he wanted to leave. But we buy them in cheaply. As I said, we develop them, send them out on loan for a year or two, and then sell them on and make a profit. And that actually makes us a fair bit of money. We get money for sending them out on loan because clubs pay a loan fee, and then if we sell them on, we obviously get the money. So a lot of these kids last year helped us to get, I believe, a best part of €50 million in income in this last summer. Okay, there was Joe Hart sold as well, but a lot of these kids like Angus Gunn for 10 or 12 million, Maffio, Angelino, and others, they helped us to get best part of, I think, 40 to 50 million quid. And that makes a huge difference in terms of FFP, because most of this is a profit, because these guys have got very little book value, so whatever we sell them for is a profit. So that's great for your accounts and great for your cash flow. It's great all round. The kids get a great education, and not just a football education, but an education in St Bede's, and they have a great chance of a career in football subsequently. So that's what we do. So we sell them on the cheap. And why do we sell them on the cheap? I think this is my belief, is that when you send a player out on loan, if he doesn't quite hit the spot, okay, at his new club, he might not get the game time he needs to develop from City's point of view. So you look at people like Douglas Luiz, his first spell at Girona, I don't think he got on with the coach, or he didn't fit in, or you may have a bad start, and it's very hard to recover from a poor start. We brought players back from loan just because they're not playing. We need them to, the whole purpose, as I said, is to get them moving from that big gap between EDS and first team. It's a huge gap, chasm, and we need to help them bridge that gap and develop as players for either Man City or for themselves to go somewhere else. So if we actually sell a player to a club and sell them cheap, there's a huge incentive for the buying club to develop that player as best they can, because they've invested in him. In Angelino's case, PSV had invested €5.5 million in him. Now, they did not want him to fail, they wanted him, and they needed him to succeed, because €5.5 million is a fair sum of money for PSV. So City insert these buyback clauses or sell-on clauses in the players' contracts, and this is why we're basically getting Angelino back at a good price. It helps as I said, the buying club. They can see a future. They can see that if we develop this player, he stays with us, we've got a great player. If City buy him back, we make some money. And I think the rumoured buyback clause was initially, I think a lot of people said it's €12 million. And so PSV can pay €5.5 million for the guy. 1 year later, sell him back to City for 12 million. And they're quids in. Now, it might hurt them a little bit because they've had a good quality left back, and they're going to have to start again at that position in all intents and purposes, because this kid was in the Eredivisie team this season. But they'll take the money, okay? They know that there's a risk that the player might move on, but they know that with the risk of the player moving on or coming back to City in the buyback clause, that they're going to make a hefty profit if they've done their job well. So they do their job well, they help to train the guy and develop him, they make some money. So once again, it's everybody wins. And the kids who are sold, they win because they develop even more and get a proper home. The buying club win because they've made a financial gain, and they can actually go and buy some other players themselves. And City have a financial win in terms of the money, because we've got a player who's worth a lot more than €12 million, believe you and me. And we've also got a player that's developed. So I think that's a brilliant business model. I think it's absolutely fantastic, and it works really well. So what of Angelino now? Well, it's quite funny. As I said, we thought he'd be coming back before. We thought we'd get him when we needed him, when Ben Mendy was injured, and we were using Fabian Delph and Zinchenko's converted midfielders. But, you know, he's going to come in. I mean, it's quite interesting that a few months ago, there was a lot of noise around Ben Chilwell. We knew we might need a new left back, and suddenly that all went quiet. Suddenly it was City not going to buy a new left back, and this quite possibly was the reason. Now, what's it going to mean for City? Well, Ben Mendy's coming back, okay? So he's going to be our first choice. There's a feeling that Danilo's not going to stick around. Danilo's a utility player who could play left back, right back, and other places. You know, we put two and two together. His picture's not on the City website wearing the new kit. Who knows what's going to happen there? So Ben Mendy's going to be our first choice, but he's got injury problems. I think he's only played 17 games for City in 2 seasons, so there's a big risk with him. I'm not sure Delph will stay. And then the alternative fullback is Zinchenko. Now, I look at Zinchenko's done really well, but he's not a left back. He still makes mistakes, same as Delph. And it might be that Zinchenko becomes, remind you that Zinchenko signed a contract extension, so he's going to be here for another, for a total of 5 years. You know, that's his current contract. So there's my feeling is that Zinchenko could be the next utility player, okay? So he can play left back if required, if we're desperate, and he can play left midfield or in a more attacking midfield role if that's required as well. Will Angelino slot in and be second choice left back? I think he'll end up fighting with Zinchenko for it. And I think both kids have got the determination, that desire, that willingness to work hard, do whatever it takes to succeed. So, you know, I think that's a good tussle. It's a good fight to have. Angelino and Alexander Zinchenko fighting for that left-back berth. You know, it might just be that Ben Mendy gets injured again and these two kids will end up rotating the season at left-back. We just don't know. Whatever happens, I mean, Angelino may not make it at City. You know, we got him back at a good price. He may not make it. I mean, but his value will keep increasing. Now, you know, there were rumours that quite a few clubs were interested in him. There were rumours that Napoli were interested, Dortmund, even Barca, Arsenal as well, and PSG. And apparently PSG were willing to pay up to 25 million euros for this kid. So we've got him for, I believe, about 10 or 12 million euros. And whatever happens, whether he's in the next couple of years he makes it or not, my feeling is he's worth, you know, if PSG are willing to pay 20 to 25 million euros, then maybe that's his worth. And if he doesn't make it at City, then we can sell him and still make that profit. So whatever happens, it's great to have Angelino at the club. It's an exciting season to look forward to see what he can do. Can he, you know, bomb up and down that left-hand side like Ben Mendy did? Can he be a more reliable defensive left-back when needed, a bit more reliable than Delph or Zinchenko? Can he be that, you know, that amazing, like Ben Mendy, that amazing left-back who can defend and also attack and provide assists for our strikers and our other midfielders? It's, as I said, it's an exciting time for Angelino. I hope the kid does really well. I wish him all the best. It's great to have him back in the house, and we move onwards and upwards, Blues.